You ever have one of those moments where you realize your own family isn't who you thought they were? For me, that moment didn't come gently. It came with a lawsuit delivered by a courier from my own parents and sister. The goal? To kick me out of my own home. It all started after my divorce. I was at my lowest, but I scraped together everything I had and bought a fit. It was my sanctuary, my project, my fresh start. I poured my heart, my soul, and every last penny into renovating that house, turning it from a wreck into a home for me and my daughter, Emma. I was proud of what I'd built, literally from the ground up, but apparently my family saw it differently. They saw a valuable asset, and in their eyes, I didn't deserve it. My sister Lily needed a place, and my perfectly renovated house was just too convenient for them to ignore. The first signs were subtle, almost unnoticeable. During family dinners, my parents would ask casual questions. So, how much was that down payment again? Or is your mortgage rate fixed? I thought it was just idle chat, parents being interested in their son's life. I was so wrong. They weren't just making conversation. They were gathering intelligence. They were building a case against me, and I was unknowingly handing them the ammunition. Then the lawsuit hit. Their lawyer sent a letter claiming that the down payment for my house hadn't come from my savings at all. No, they alleged it came from a family trust fund that they managed. Their story was that the house was never meant for me. It was an investment, they claimed, purchased with the intention of eventually giving it to my sister, Lily. I was just a temporary caretaker. The audacity was breathtaking. There was no trust fund. It was a complete fabrication, a lie designed to steal my home. That's when a switch flipped inside me. The hurt was immense, but it was quickly replaced by a cold resolve. If they were going to play dirty, I had to be prepared. I started recording our conversations. It felt awful, like a betrayal, but they had already betrayed me in the worst way possible. I'd put my phone on record before every family gathering, hoping to catch them slipping up, hoping to get something, anything, that would prove they were lying. The recordings were damning. I captured my mum admitting they were helping Lily get what she deserves. I got my dad talking about how I got lucky with the house, and that it's only fair it goes to my sister. They never once mentioned a trust fund. It was all about their entitlement and my perceived understandingness. They were so confident, so sure of their plan, that they spoke freely, never suspecting I was collecting evidence of their deception. But the most crucial piece of evidence came from the most innocent source, my 7-year-old daughter Emma. One afternoon, my mum was over babysitting. I had given Emma an old tablet to play with, and she loved to record herself, pretending to be a vlogger. That day, she left it recording on the kitchen counter while my mum was on the phone with my dad and sister. I didn't find the recording until weeks later, scrolling through her files. What I heard made my blood run cold. It was my mum, her voice sweet and poisonous, talking to Emma. "You know, sweetie," she cooed, This lovely house is going to be your Auntie Lily's house very soon. Won't that be fun? Emma, confused, just mumbled, "Why?" Then, the phone conversation with my dad and Lily kicked in. They were laughing about how they were going to take the house. "He'll never see it coming," my dad chuckled. "The look on his face will be priceless," my sister added, followed by more malicious laughter. They were discussing their entire plot, their motives, their sheer glee at the thought of my downfall, all captured on my daughter's toy. The court date arrived. I was a nervous wreck, but I had my secret weapon. My parents' lawyer stood before the judge, spinning a tale of a family trust, of benevolent parents just trying to manage their assets for their children. They presented falsified documents, a web of lies so intricate they almost looked plausible. They painted me as an ungrateful son trying to steal from my own sister. I watched my parents and sister in the gallery, their faces a mask of false piety. Then it was my turn. My lawyer stood up and said, "Your Honor, we have evidence that will clarify the plaintiff's true intentions." He played the recordings. First, the conversations I had recorded where they discussed their desire to give Lily the house. The mood in the courtroom shifted. My parents' faces went from pious to pale, but the knockout blow was Emma's recording. The judge listened intently as my mum's voice filled the room, telling her granddaughter that her home would soon belong to her aunt. Then came the phone call, the laughter, the raw, unfiltered sound of my family's conspiracy. My sister's voice gleefully anticipating my shock, my dad's smug confidence. You could have heard a pin drop. My family looked like they had seen a ghost. Their entire scheme was laid bare, exposed by the innocent recording of a 7-year-old girl. The judge slammed his gavel down. He didn't just dismiss their case. He was furious. He looked directly at my parents and said their claims bordered on perjury and fraud. He affirmed that the house was, and always had been, mine. But he wasn't done. He announced he was forwarding the entire matter to family court and recommending an investigation into my parents for attempted fraud. Their plan to make me homeless had backfired spectacularly. They now faced legal consequences for their greed. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt a strange mix of relief and profound sadness. I had won. I had kept my home, but I had lost my family. The people who were supposed to love and support me had tried to destroy me. It's a heavy price to pay, but as I went home to my daughter in our house, I knew I had made the right choice. I protected what was mine, and more importantly, I protected my daughter's home. Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones you fight against the people you're supposed to trust the most. Thanks for listening to my story. It's been a crazy journey, and sharing it helps. If you have a similar story or just want to show some support, hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.